Good afternoon. This video is going to be an introduction to a couple of things. Number one, the assignment that we have, which is a small exercise called figure ground reversal, will also introduce computer-aided design. And because we're introducing the computer and the use of Adobe software, some of you I know have not had this yet. I decided to record both the introduction to the assignment and the introduction to the actual use of the digital platform, Adobe Illustrator. And so I'm going to start sharing my screen so you can see what we're going to be dealing with. In case you lose it, the place that you would go to find this assignment would be on our Blackboard shell, and you would go into Assignments. Let's see if I can find that. You would go into Assignments and scroll down past this stuff, and you come up to Figure Ground Reversal Digital. It's a brand new version that I created for this purpose, and you can read the instructions here. As a matter of fact, I think we will. So basically, you'll make two designs. Problem: working with 3 letter forms, so you get to use 3 letters that you will find in the computer. Therefore, they're based on commercially available fonts. In other words, they're not handwritten or hand-drawn by you. You're going to create 2 design compositions within a 6-inch by 6-inch format, using the same design, only reversed. And by that, what we mean is that which is black will be turned white, and that which is white will be turned black. These 2 designs are to be mounted on 9 by 10-inch boards. This assignment will help you explore the dynamic of positive and negative space in design. And the things that you're trying to do here are to create a dynamic balance of form and space, you know, the positive and the negative. The positive letters would be, create a dynamic balance of form and space using found objects, which are the letters, as raw material. Use the negative shapes to create cool complexity, you know, create interesting shapes out of the spaces between things. And to fully use every square inch of a composition. Then also the final thing is to anticipate or understand the effects of reversing black and white within your composition. In other words, that's a tool that you get to use as a designer. You can decide, is the foreground letter, is it going to be lighter or darker than the background? So the materials for this are computer-aided design mounted on Bristol paper. The strategy: first, be sure you understand the rules. There are game rules. Just like the parts in the puzzle, we have restrictions. The linear pattern that you make, the outline of it, for both designs must be exactly identical. There can be no difference between those two. You got to use real font faces as your design elements. By the way, these can be enlarged, turned, overlapped, etc. to create dynamic balance of positive and negative. Oh, can you flip them? Didn't say you couldn't. Any component can be multiplied as needed. However, do not exceed a total of 6 positive shapes. Any component can be enlarged or reduced as needed. Any shapes that go off the edge or out of the boundary should be cut off. And that will show you a technique for that makes that very easy to get done. All right, so our procedure to get into this: we will launch Adobe Illustrator. You'll use your university login credentials. I am anticipating that the first time we do this, there's going to be a little bit of a wrinkle getting people into this software, but we'll deal with that in class. You'll start a new 8.5 by 11-inch document. You'll use the type tool to create a palette of typeface samples, and we'll show you how to do that. You'll learn what's some of the basic menus, like the tool menu, the menu for palettes, and get a look at palettes and how they work in Illustrator. And you'll also be able to understand the workspace that you're in that has an artboard in the center of it based on the page that you set up. You will learn how to use the layers palette to create a new layer, and the rectangle tool to create rectangles so we can make basically a frame that we're going to put our design in. Step 4, you end up arranging your letter forms inside your 6-inch by 6-inch space to create a cool design. And we'll talk about the ways to do that. And then you'll learn the Pathfinder palette, which is a cool device that's used to add to or cut up or cut away parts of elements that are in your design. Then you will repeat the first design. You will use this after you get it done one time with black and white. You will create a new design and then flip everything, reverse what was black to make it white, and what was white to make it black. Then the last step on this is to mount this onto the 9x10-inch boards. This allows you to provide a border that is exactly 1.5 inch around the sides and on the top, and a 2.5-inch border on the bottom. There are pages to read in Launching the Imagination that you might want to get into, pages 29 and 30, and then 74 to 95. There's a lot of stuff being done here that you might want to explore. By the way, they got a note down here about Buckminster Fuller. You may not know who Buckminster Fuller is, but you've seen his work. He is the first person to design a geodesic dome. Let me do that for you. These things. He invented this idea. He was an architect. And so I know you've seen his work. You probably climbed on it. Anyway, all right, back to where we were. If you do everything and you don't run into a hitch, I think this should take no longer than 4 hours to get done. So this is kind of like a little in-between thing that we use to introduce digital work, computer-aided design. All right, so look, having said that, I'm going to do what you need to do. Look at, it says, procedure, launch Adobe Illustrator. And